call the meeting to order. It's now the 7th of November, 2023. It's 7:09 p.m. by my computer clock, and I'd like to call the meeting to order. So I'll sit as chair, Woody Chidick. So I'll ask for, because this is a virtual Zoom meeting, everybody to say present or aye. So Woody Chidick present.
Dave McMorris present.
Lee Darst present.
Michael Dickey present.
Matt Watkins present.
Okay, so 5. So we have a quorum. And the agenda, I believe, is to take a vote on Articles 4 and then on Article 5 in terms of whether we would like to go on record being in favor of these that are submitted in the warrant to town meeting coming up next week. How about discussion? Anybody have issues, concerns, or objections?
Lily's joining right now.
All right, I see Charlie there. Well, I don't see him, but he's Charlie, I guess your video's off. If you could connect your video and speaker, that would be great. Well, okay, here he goes. I think Charlie's coming on now. Charlie, good
No,
man.
I'm on. Good.
Right.
Okay.
We've
Sorry, I
taken,
was told this was canceled. The 14th was the meeting.
no, the 13th, the 14th is our regular meeting. This is a special meeting
Okay.
of the zoning board to decide if we're going to endorse Articles 4 and then Article 5. It's going to town meeting on the 13th or not. So we have a full, would you just say present so we now have a full board? Okay, so I would like to, Charlie, right? You're present?
Yep.
Okay, so we have a full board of 6. How about discussion first on Article 4?
Yeah, I did. I had reviewed again just the minor changes and the substantive changes. I didn't have any real issues or concerns with it myself. Tom, the only question I had, I didn't see much there. I know we noted that and this isn't an issue for me or anything, but the parking of like commercial vehicles as a substantive change. When I kind of looked up, it did appear that you could park like one commercial vehicle in a residential district as of now in the current bylaws, but is it just the size that we're changing of that vehicle? Do you know? That was just a curiosity thing that jumped at me that I
Yeah, no, unfortunately, Matt, can you guys all hear me? I hope. I'm
Yeah.
doing
This
this from my
Tom
phone.
Callahan, by the way, for the record.
Yeah, sorry, Tom Callahan, Chair of the Zoning Bylaw Committee. I just brought my phone and I ran out of the office without bringing the text of everything with me. I don't think there was an intent to make any great changes in something like that. The judge would have to explain that, unfortunately, but
okay. Yeah, the only thing I noticed on it is it did appear that you could park one now, and just from the public's perspective, like it says that it's a change. I almost would have guessed before I looked at it, like, hey, you could park 5 now, and we're limiting it to 2 or something like that. It didn't seem to be much difference other than maybe the size of the vehicle
which might be just a worthwhile thing that our current bylaw didn't have, to just that she added into the text. So
yeah.
Tom, since it's been brought up offline, would you check in with the judge this week and find out where the specs came from and if it's substantive or simply
all right,
administrative, because
yeah,
it
she
may
just-
appear somewhere else. I mean, you never know with our bylaw.
Yeah, no, she just got back from her trip to Europe, so I'll touch base with her tomorrow.
Okay. Good.
You know, and I'll just say that since we met with you, I don't know that I told you the selectmen votes were 3-0. They only had 3 members that night, but I expect they'll say 5-0 at town meeting. And the advisory committee was 8 or 9, however many of them were there that night, to 0 on both articles.
Okay. So board, as we discuss Article 4, or maybe not discuss, if Matt's brought up one point. Charlie, do you have anything on Article 4?
Not now, no, but I can go along with it.
Okay. Dave, you have anything?
Yeah, I do have one question. I guess for Tom. I'll try and go back to it here. No, okay, I misread it, I'm fine.
Okay. Well, again, you're at an advantage that I don't have the text in front of me. My apologies for that.
Hey, Lee?
No, I went through all the red line changes. There was I'm just trying to find. The only thing that I had a question about was, 300-5-6, and it goes down, it says floor area gross, and it says total floor area of a building measured from the exterior faces. Is that facade or is it meant to be faces?
No, I think she meant to use the word faces.
Okay. All right.
And and off the top of my head, I don't know if that's how we used the, just in the current definition. I'm not sure if that we use the same word.
Okay, that was my only question. Otherwise, I read through all the red line changes and I don't have any other comments.
Okay, my only comment is that to nobody's surprise, least of all Tom's, I would like to see further changes to the accessory dwelling unit, and I have a piece I'm happy to send out, but that is something that I think will be discussed out after town meeting. Tom is proposing, rightly so, a survey of attendees at the meeting in terms of how they feel about an accessory dwelling unit. My concern in that is it's sort of an A for effort, but it's not really a representative sample given the poor attendance we can just about always count on for the town.
Yeah.
Meeting versus town votes. So where the voters number a couple of thousand usually, or 1,800.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we shall see.
I hope you'll take a look at the text of that survey that I gave you and give me some updates for that.
Mhm.
And again, we're going to have, the plan would be to have them all available at the beginning of town meeting when we're expecting a big crowd. And by the time they get to these 2 articles, which are now at the end, I think they're 13 and 14 or 14 and 15. We aren't going to have a lot of people, but hopefully, as people are coming in, they'll take the time to pick one up and look at it. And, and then after town meeting, if we think we need a larger sample on those couple of, the questions right now for everybody else's benefit are directed at whether the 2 caps that are in the ADU bylaw should be lifted or not. Anybody who's got input on it between now and Friday until we can get them all printed up, please let me know.
Well, I'll let you know, Tom, via a memo, but it's probably not ready for prime time as much as it should be discussed by the ZBC as we go forth into 2024 and then taken out to people.
Yeah, no, that's fine, but I think the two questions I put together about the caps are worthwhile to at least get a
Absolutely.
preliminary.
No, I'm absolutely with you in those. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think there are a few other little things that
Oh, yeah, sure.
could be
sure.
improved and should be and probably will be before May.
Yep.
But not at this town meeting. Okay,
Can I
Mike,
go back to a question?
sorry, go ahead.
Um, Tom, I know you don't have this in front of you, but has there been any change in the accessory use definition or bylaw where it says, in this one, it says, accessory uses are permitted on the same lot as the principal use served, or on an adjacent lot under the same ownership and in the same district. Is that the existing?
I could go look at I do have the existing bylaw here in my house, but I'm going to assume it is or close to the same because again, the judge wasn't trying to make radical change from what it is. She was just trying to make the bylaw clearer between the distinction of primary and accessory uses without changing necessarily the definition of them. I should go grab that. Hold on one sec.
Dave, do you think the wording may have changed?
I don't know.
Hold on.
I'm trying to look
This,
through
like-
that summary sheet. I thought was pretty good that Montana sent out a couple of weeks back. What, can you repeat again? Yeah, I'll try to help too, see if I can find it.
Do you want me to just resend the summaries to everyone right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just quickly looked at the existing bylaw before we amended Article 2 last spring, that we didn't have a definition of accessory use. We had accessory dwelling, but not accessory use. So it's very possible the judge added that in making her clearer distinction between primary and accessory uses that the current Article 4 does not have. I'm just looking. I'm quickly glancing through of the existing Article 4 to see if we have anything about it.
I know,
I don't see anything, so let me assume for the moment that that's new. And again, it's consistent with the judge's objective of making a distinction between accessory and primary uses by giving it a clear definition.
Dave, is there something in the definition in warrant Article 4 that gives you pause?
yeah, and it's not thinking it through clearly enough to know if it's an issue, but we did have an applicant who wanted to build a residence on a lot where there were accessory buildings and couldn't do so because the accessory buildings had to be on the same lot as the principal
We did.
structure. And I'm just wondering if this,
No, I don't think it does, because what you read to me is saying that if you have, if an owner owns two adjoining lots, they can have the primary on one of the lots, they can have the accessory on the other.
that I understand.
Yeah,
Can they then convert that accessory to a
if the zoning otherwise supports a primary structure on the other lot, I suppose they could. They'd have no accessory structures and they'd have two primary structures and two separate lots. I assume they would probably have to Form A them, you know,
I think that the idea that I was the accessories, the lot was not conforming. So the attempt was to use the accessory structure as a pre-existing non-conforming structure,
Mhm.
convert it to a residence on that lot. Which I don't think this would
Well,
change
yeah, I'm not
that
sure.
outcome, but
Yeah, I'm not sure
still
what you
thinking it
read
through.
affects, I'm not sure what you read impacts that decision. I think that's I think there's issues probably of the adequacy of the accessory dwelling being converted.
Hmm.
That you would have to deal with under Article 8.
I think that's probably true.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
I'm gonna presume that in most cases, an accessory dwelling is quite small. Other than maybe the case of the barn, and then, it would probably be torn down and replaced by a new primary residence. And
Mhm.
again, if it's a non-conforming lot, that's for you to decide under the standards of Article 8.
Okay. My only comment then is that I think this is an excellent change. I think it makes things a lot more understandable. It's much better organized and long overdue.
That's why the judge gets the big bucks.
My.
It's been spent, right? Which is important for this town meeting. But
Okay. Are there other,
The sad thing about the articles being moved to the end is that she may be sitting here till like 10 or 11 o'clock and she comes from the western suburbs. I'm not really happy about that, but because she's gonna do the major part of the presentation.
okay, well, listen, are we at a point, I think we're at a point that we could take a vote to endorse, not to endorse, or to abstain. Anybody have a problem with that, or can we proceed to a vote? Sounds like it. So I'll start with myself. Woody Chidick votes to endorse. Dave?
Dave McMorris, I likewise.
Okay. Charlie?
Vote to endorse.
Matt?
vote to endorse.
Lee?
I vote to endorse.
Mike?
Yeah, I endorse as well.
Okay, so that one, that's Article 4, 6-0 to endorse it. Is there discussion on Article 5? I think Lee had one point brought up earlier, but I don't have any discussion points on Article 5 per se myself, but open it up to the rest of you.
I don't have any.
Nor do I.
Neither.
Okay, so let's take a vote on this one. I'll start with myself. Woody Chidick votes to endorse Article 5.
Dave McMorris, I.
Charles Higginson, aye.
Matt?
Lee Darst, aye.
Lee, good.
Mike Dickey, aye.
Mike?
Matt Watkins, I.
Okay, so Tom, it's in Montana, it's 6-0 to endorse 5.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it very much.
Okay,
Thanks,
And again,
Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
reminder, if you want to tune into the ZBC meeting tomorrow, we are going to have the consultants present us their suggestions for the housing choice overlay district. That'll be at 6:30 on Zoom. And you can find the link on the zoning bylaw committee's page.
Is this
okay.
the near the train thing?
Yeah, that's the state legislation to build, to zone for multifamily housing near train stations. And that's, the intent of that is to come, the deadline to do it is by December of next year, but the intent is to come forward in the Springtown meeting with the necessary zoning.
It's a biggie, housing.
Yep. Yeah, well, we have a certain number that we have to hit and allow for as of right, and we gave them the consultant the marching orders is to do it as an overlay in the commercial areas of 3A next to both stations, and we will see what they finally come up with tomorrow night.
Oh, okay, so you haven't seen this,
Well,
final.
I've seen earlier versions of it, and one of the challenges is that it sort of all has to be connected. The two little areas have to be connected. So their first go round of it was proposing more acreage than was needed, and then the potential of more units. But in reality, not all the land was buildable. But in making it all contiguous, you had to include other things. So, I mean, I glanced at the new plan. It's a slightly smaller version of area that they're proposing than the previous one. And then the bylaw itself, the text of a bylaw is actually fairly simple. That's required. So,
Okay,
but again, this will be the consultant with the contract is up. So this is the last time we will have the benefit of dealing with the consultant. So that's why, and they're coming to a night meeting rather than a day meeting to give us their final report, and I thought you'd all be interested in seeing what
Yeah.
they have.
no, I think housing is the issue,
Yep.
not just of the day, but of the decade, no
Yeah,
doubt.
we have to zone for like 638 units. It's a lot. We have to zone for that possibility of that being developed. So it's quite a bit, quite an impact if it ever got fully built out.
Mm-hmm.
So 6:30 tomorrow, check the zoning bylaw committee page for the link.
Okay, sounds good. Anybody have any other zoning business they wish to bring up? If not, I would make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Moved and seconded by Charlie. So Woody Chidick, aye?
Give McMorris aye.
Charlie Higginson, aye.
Lee Darcey.
Mike Dickey, aye.
Matt Watkins, I.
Okay, so we are now officially adjourned.